Hello my dear students, welcome to our channel Rajesh Biology and I am Rajesh MSc Zoology. Today our topic is cockroach mouth parts. Very important concept it is. So cockroach mouth parts. First I'll give all the names of the mouth parts. Later I'll show where they are located and I'll explain what are the functions of that mouth parts. Okay. So cockroach mouth parts are biting and chewing type. Biting means what? We also bite. That means incision. That means if we want to eat the apple, we first incisize that and later we chew that. So biting and chewing type of mouth parts are present. They are biting and chewing. Biting and chewing type. And it has, the mouth parts contains what? A pair of, first the upper lip, I'll write about upper lip. A single upper lip, it is also called what? Labrum. Next, a pair of maxilla. A pair of maxilla and a pair of mandibles and lower lip, a pair of first pair of maxilla and second pair of maxilla is also there. It is a first pair of maxilla, for example. It is the first pair and the second pair of maxilla. Okay, it is second pair. It is first pair. First pair is separated. Okay, but the second pair is fused to form the lower lip. It is also called what? Lower lip, called labium. I'll explain each and everything. Okay, don't worry about this. First pair maxilla, second pair maxilla, a pair of mandibles, and hypopharynx. It is also called a tongue or a lingua. So these are the parts we are going to discuss. But before going to know about all these parts, just revise the head of the cockroach. So on one side, the head of the cockroach, it is triangular and it is hypognathous. We already discussed, right? So there is a pair of compound eyes, vertex, and there is clypeus. And the sides, there is a triangular shaped structures, that is what? Genae. And here it is the clypeus and it is the labrum. So like that we discussed the in head of the cockroach. But it is the what? It is anterior portion. It is anterior portion. Now come to the posterior portion. I'm already said when we discussed about the cockroach head, I'm already said that we will discuss about posterior portion of the head when we discuss about the mouth parts. Like that I was said already. So this is very important. So all the mouth parts except the labrum, this is labrum, except the labrum we can observe from the posterior surface. So if it is the foramen, occipital foramen, this is what? Occiput. This is occiput. Now listen. So this, if it is the occiput, this is a mentum. Submentum it is. And if it is the submentum, the middle mentum. Yellow color middle part is what? Mentum. And if it is the mentum, this is prementum. This is prementum. From the prementum, labial pulp comes out like this. Okay. Next, it is the posterior surface of the head. Near to this only, there is cardo and stapes, cardo and the stapes from of course the stapes are continuous like this, and from the stapes there is a labial pulp like this. There is cardo, stapes, and what? Labial pulp. So this is what you can observe from the posterior surface of the head. Now we are going to take these all mouth parts out, and I will place all the mouth parts here, and I will explain each and every mouth part in detail. So first we will start with the upper lip labrum. Okay, so we will start with the upper lip, that is labrum, what we can observe in the anterior portion of the head. So labrum. Labrum is a upper lip. It is the unpaired structure. It is only one is there. That is not a paired structure. It is unpaired structure. So, and it is vertical. And rectangular. It is vertical and rectangular. We can draw this labrum here like this. It is the upper lip. And I'll write some points about the upper lip here, and later I'll erase to draw the next part of the mouth parts. So that is the upper lip labrum, and it is present on the anterior portion of the head. It covers anterior surface. And all the mouth parts, all these mouth parts together covers a cavity. That cavity is called what? Preoral cavity. Preoral cavity. So if it is the box, if it is the cavity like this, just imagine as there is a box, and all these box coverings, this is one end, anterior end, it is the lateral. Okay, on other side there is a posterior. Just imagine there is a box, and that box covers a cavity. That cavity is what? Preoral cavity. And all the walls of that box, lateral wall, anterior wall, posterior wall, all these walls are nothing but mouth parts. Cockroach mouth parts encloses a cavity that is called preoral cavity. In that preoral cavity are that mouth parts which covers the preoral cavity are labrum, labium, first pair maxilla, hypopharynx, and mandibles. These are the parts. In that, the labrum covers anterior wall of the preoral cavity, and it is attached with the clypeus, and it is a plate-like structure. It is plate-like structure, and it is vertical, and it is vertical and rectangular. Okay, now come to the function of this labrum. Labrum helps to hold the food. When it eat, to hold the food, it will help hold the food. And not only that, inside wall, for example, my hand is the labrum. It holds the food like this. Not only that, when it holds, the food touches the inner wall. This inner lining of the labrum has gustatory sensillae. Inner lining has what? Gustatory sensillae. So this gustatory sensillae helps to taste the food. So that is about the labrum. Labrum is a vertical plate-like structure. It is rectangular and it is attached with the clypeus, and it holds the food and it can taste the food, and it present or it covers the anterior wall of the preoral cavity. This is about the labrum, the first mouth part of the cockroach. The next is first pair maxillae. First we will explain about mandibles, then later we will go for the first pair maxillae. So mandibles next. Mandibles are triangular shaped structures. Mandibles are what? Triangular shaped structures like this. And they are paired structures. A pair of mandibles are present. A pair of mandibles are present. There is a pair of mandibles are present and they are triangular in shape. A paired triangular, and they are made by the chitin. So chitinized. They are prepared by the chitin, that means they are very strong and they helps in the mastication. They helps in what? Mastication of the food. How they can help in the mastication? Because they have two types of teeth. Two types of teeth. One is for incision, for cutting, and another is for grinding. Two types of tooth are there on this. So one is for what? For example, if it is the grinding and it is for cutting. So cutting teeth are like this sharp and grinding teeth are like this. So two types of teeth are present on one side. So the mandibles are lined on one side, in the broader surface is lined by two types of teeth, that is incision and grinding teeth. They are made by the chitin, they help in mastication. They are triangular and they are paired structures. Clear? And they are attached with the genae because they are present on the lateral sides. They are present lateral sides. So they attach with the genae. We already discussed about the genae in the head of the cockroach. So they are attached with the genae. And we cannot see the mandibles from the outer surface because mandibles are present inside the preoral cavity. Okay. And immediately beneath the preoral cavity, for example, this is the clypeus. If you remove the clypeus, you can observe a triangular shaped mandibles like this. If you remove the two mandibles, you can observe there is a first pair maxilla. So beneath the mandibles, there is first pair maxilla. That's why I explained mandibles first. Later, first pair maxilla. So I'll erase this and I'll draw the first pair maxilla. Okay. First pair maxilla has actually three parts. First pair maxilla have how many parts? Three parts are there. That is exopodite, endopodite, protopodite. So first I will draw the protopodite. So protopodite contains this type of structure. This is called cardo. And the next part is stipes. Cardo and stipes. You can observe this type of two parts on the posterior wall of the head. I'll draw the head diagram again after the completion of all the parts. Cardo, stipes. And above the stipes, there is a hood-like structure, galea. It is called what? Galea. It is a hood-like structure. And later, there is a forceps-like structure is there, that is called what? Lecinia. Galea and Lecinia. Next, here where the stipes and the galea attach with one another, here there is a sclerite. This sclerite name is palpifer. It is called what? Palpifer. It is cardo. It is stipes. And this is Lecinia and galea. Palpifer. Very important. From the palpifer, there is jointed appendages. How many? 5 jointed appendages or arise. 5 jointed appendages. So like this, 5 jointed appendages are arise. And these jointed appendages are called maxillary pulp because it has some sensory cells. It helps in the detecting some sense. So that's why it is a pulp. Pulp means which type of pulp it is? Maxillary pulp because it is arise from the first pair maxilla. So this is the one maxilla. On other side also we can simply draw this cardo, stapes and stipes. This is cardo. That is stipes, galea, and Lecinia, palpifer, that is maxillary pulp. Simply we can draw like this: cardo, stipes, Lecinia, galea, palpifer, maxillary pulp. Now we will discuss about the functions of this maxillary pulp. First, what is protopodite? Stipes and cardo together called protopodite. Proto means first. So these are the first structures of the first pair maxilla. So protopodite it is. And then next, these galea, Lecinia both are present inside the oral cavity. They are not appear out. They are not appeared out. Even though we observe from the posterior wall, we cannot see this galea, Lecinia. That's why they are called endopodite. These two together called what? Endopodite. Why we use the podite? Even though it is not help in the walking, they are also appendages. All the appendages are called poda. So protopodite, first structures of the maxilla, and endopodite which present inside the mouth, and which the part which comes out from the body, which we can observe even though we are not going to dissect the head, there comes out. So this is called, this 5 segmented jointed maxillary pulp is called what? Exopodite. It is called exopodite, and it is helpful to lubricate the antenna. That means it cleans the antenna. It cleans the first pair of the legs, and it cleans the eyes also when there is any object in front of the cockroach. If it is failed to observe, if it is failed to watch that, so it first clear the eyes like this with this type. For example, these my 2 hands are the maxillary pulp, and this maxillary pulp comes out and it helps it to take the food, and it sends the food to the mandibles. It gives the food to the mandibles, and not only that, when it gives the food to the mandibles, at that time also it can taste the food. And not only that, when it want to clear, it cleans the eyes, it cleans the antenna, and it cleans the first pair of legs with this help of these 2 maxillary pulp. Okay, so this is the first pair of maxilla. Cardo, stipes, galea, hood-like galea, and this is forceps like Lecinia. Palpifer, it is a sclerate from where the maxillary pulp arise. Okay, next we will discuss about the second pair maxilla. So I'll erase this part because here only I have to draw the second pair maxilla, that is labia. So second pair maxilla, both the second pair maxilla, second pair maxilla, both pair means 2, both fuse to form a single lower lip, that is called labium. The labium has mainly 3 parts. That is, first I will draw the submentum. This is what? Submentum. And actually this is the submentum, this is what? Mentum. This is prementum. Submentum, mentum and prementum. Okay, this is the lower lip. Lower lip is called labium. Wherever it is present, the lower lip is always labium. In our body also it is called labia. Okay, so lip. Now come to here. Between the mentum and submentum there is a sclerite. This sclerite name, the sclerite name is what? This is palpiger. It is palpiger. It is palpifer. So from the palpiger there is three jointed. There is three jointed appendages or arise. That is called labial pulp. What it is called? What? It is called labial pulp. It is the labial pulp. And at the tip, at the end of the prementum, there is a glossa and paraglossa is there. There is a glossa and paraglossa. So these are the structures of the labia. And what is the function of the labium? Labium prevents the falling of the food. It prevents the fall of the food from the oral cavity. When the maxillary pulp bring the food and it's sent to the oral cavity, and when it masticate with the help of the mandibles, sometimes the food may fall down. So to hold that food, there is a labium. Labium helps to hold the food and it prevents the falling of the food. And not only that, it sends the food into the oral cavity again with the labial pulp. Okay, and where it is present, if we remove the four, that means upper lip, we can observe a pair of mandibles. Immediately beneath the mandibles there is a first pair maxilla. Okay, and then next, if we remove these two, we can observe that is second pair maxilla, unpaired maxilla, that is lower lip called labium. Okay, so labium has a submentum, mentum and prementum. And here submentum, mentum present inside the oral cavity, and this prementum and labial pulp will comes out. And now I'll show where these two are present in the head of the cockroach. If you draw this head, posterior wall of the head, it is like this, and here there is a occipital foramen, and this is occiput. Now here you can observe what it is. It is the submentum and it is mentum and it is prementum. These two are glossa, paraglossa. From here the labial pulp. You can observe the cockroach head, posterior surface. Next, here the cardo and stipes. From here there is Gallia lecinia and maxillary pulp. So these are the mouth parts of the cockroach we can observe from the posterior surface, and labrum we can observe from the anterior end. Mandibles we cannot observe, and we forget another part, that is hypopharynx. The hypopharynx is a rod-like structure, and it is also formed by the chitin, and it has a groove. It has a groove inside. It has a groove inside, and this is called hypopharynx or tongue. And posterior to this hypopharynx, posterior to the hypopharynx, a pair of salivary glands are open. So if you observe the salivary glands diagram in your textbook, in that diagram also you can observe the hypopharynx. That hypopharynx is present in the middle of the preoral cavity and it is called lingua. And there is another word which is very similar to the lingua, that is ligula. Ligula is, it is nothing but glossa and paraglossa. Glossa and paraglossa together called what? Ligula. Hypopharynx is called lingua. And so these are the cockroach mouth parts. So don't worry about this diagram. We will learn. I'll teach you how to draw the entire cockroach mouth parts diagram in a clear manner, not like this. Okay. So first we will revise all the names of this labeling. Okay, that is very important 5-mark question for the IPE examinations in AP and Telangana first years. Okay. So first it is called what? Labrum, upper lip. Its inner wall has the gustatory sensori. It can taste the food. Okay, and these two are mandibles. And I forget, mandibles move and they masticate the food with the help of two muscles. The two muscles are adductor and abductor. Adductor and abductor muscles are there. You may hear these two muscle names in human physiology if you hear. We also have the adductor and abductor muscles, but we have that muscles at the pelvic region here, the hip muscles. This is abductor and adductor muscles are present. So adductor and abductor muscles we have in the hip region, and that muscles are present in the preoral cavity which help in the mastication. And submentum, mentum, prementum, glossa, paraglossa, labial pulp and pulpiger, cardosteps, galea, lecinia, pulpifer, maxillary pulp. Maxillary pulp, labial pulp, and mentum, submentum, prementum, cardostypes, and mandibles, labrum, hypopharynx. These are the cockroach mouth parts. In next class we will discuss about thorax and then next abdomen like that. And we already discussed about the neck in the previous class, right?